Okay, let's unpack this. Imagine strolling through a charming Spanish town, maybe enjoying some tapas, and when suddenly you realize you're not quite in charge here.
Uh-huh.
No, the actual rulers seem to be feathered, confident, and very, very clucky.
Right.
We're taking a deep dive today into an incredibly unique urban phenomenon.
It really is something else.
Our source material for this deep dive is an article titled Torrevieja, the Chicken Takeover.
Mm.
And our mission really is to explore how just a handful of abandoned birds somehow managed to redefine an entire community.
What's fascinating here is this situation is almost a perfect living case study in what biologists call niche construction,
Okay.
where a species, sometimes totally inadvertently, reshapes its own habitat and, crucially, the behaviors of other species within it, including us. We tend to think of cities as, completely human-controlled environments.
Right, we built them.
Exactly. But this story just immediately challenges those assumptions about who or what really holds ecological power in a city. It shows how one small incident can rapidly scale up.
So to really get a grip on this, we had to go back to the beginning, which is pretty surprising in itself. It was 2014.
That's right, 2014.
And the flock started with just 40 chickens. 40. That's it.
Seems tiny, doesn't it?
Yeah. And the spark for this whole thing, apparently these chickens were simply abandoned, left by an anonymous resident.
Just left there in the Parque de las Naciones in Torrevieja.
Exactly.
And that's, for me, the most intriguing part. How such a small, almost negligible event, someone abandoning pets, basically could snowball like this.
Yeah.
It really speaks volumes about the unpredictability of urban ecosystems. Even a tiny disturbance can send ripples out in ways you'd never expect.
Well, those initial 40 chickens obviously had big ambitions because today, get this, that small flock
Has exploded.
exploded is the right one.
It's now a sprawling population estimated at over 700 birds. 700. That's a huge jump.
It is. And we're not just talking about a few birds hiding in a park. The sources paint this really vivid picture of them, like ruling the streets, the parks, even the roads, strutting around with this confidence like, yeah, this city, it's ours, not yours. The article even mentions traffic stopping for them.
Right, as if they've just naturally been granted the right of way. It's quite the image.
It really is.
And if we, connect this to the bigger picture, that kind of rapid, uncontrolled growth in a city immediately makes you think about carrying capacity.
The carrying capacity.
Yeah, basically how many individuals an environment can actually support long term. And in a place like Torrevieja, that's not just about food and water for the chickens.
Right, it impacts people too.
Absolutely. It's about the community's tolerance, the strain on, say, sanitation, waste management, even potential health risks with such a large unmanaged bird population.
And the human reactions. Sounds like they're all over the place, which is fascinating in itself. The article says many residents have sort of embraced this charming chaos. They find it delightful. Kids love it. It makes the town feel unique.
There's definitely that narrative, this whimsical, almost eccentric paradise feel. It gives the town a distinct identity, no doubt.
You mentioned strain, so for our deep dive, we have to ask, is everyone charmed? Or does the article show another side?
That's a really important point. Yes, the charm is there, but the source also highlights a growing tension, a divide.
Right.
Some residents, maybe those more worried about, property values or the constant noise, the droppings, they see it less as charming chaos and more as a public nuisance.
A health issue, maybe?
Potentially. It's a classic example of human-wildlife conflict starting to bubble up under that surface charm. It really underscores how complex sharing urban spaces can become.
So what about the local authorities? The council? Surely they're doing something.
Well, they acknowledged the problem. The article mentions they promised a solution, said it would be sorted within weeks, deal with the growing numbers.
Okay, so promises were made, but
despite the promises, and this is where it gets really interesting, even the council seems kind of powerless.
Powerless against chickens.
Yeah.
It sounds funny, but yeah. The specific failure that highlights this is pretty telling. They hired a company to remove the birds.
Right. Makes sense.
But the company gave up. They just quit.
Quit? Why? Couldn't catch them.
Not exactly.
Yeah.
They apparently couldn't find anywhere to put them. No sanctuary, no farm. Nothing had enough space for a flock that large. Over 700 chickens.
Wow.
And that's the fascinating part here, I think. The sheer practical, logistical hurdle of relocating such a huge established animal population once it's really taken hold in a city.
Yeah, it's not like finding a home for a stray cat.
Not at all. You can't just round them up and drop them off somewhere. You need a place that can genuinely handle that number, provide proper care, and that's a massive barrier. It shows the limits of managing wildlife once it adapts like this. So this leaves Torrevieja in a really strange spot. What's the feeling now? Are people thinking, okay, this is our quirky paradise, or is it more like,
Yeah.
are we about to see a full-scale chicken rebellion?
Haha, well, maybe not a rebellion, but the core dilemma remains. That open question is hanging over the town.
And the search for a new home for the chickens is still going on.
Apparently, yes, it's an ongoing, unresolved issue. And the fact that it is so persistent really underscores a broader ecological point, I think. Once a population gets a solid foothold in an urban niche, even one that seems totally unnatural.
Like chickens ruling a Spanish town.
Exactly. Disrupting it becomes incredibly complex, maybe even impossible without major effort or unforeseen events. The secret of the Torrevieja chickens, as the article hints, is still very much a mystery.
So what does this all mean? It challenges our whole idea of urban wildlife, doesn't it?
It certainly does. And the long-term governance questions. How do you manage these situations where animals essentially integrate themselves, wanted or not, into our spaces?
It's fascinating. So the saga continues in Torrevieja, a town that you could argue really belongs to the birds now.
In a way, yes.
And it definitely makes you wonder what unexpected, maybe wild forces might be quietly taking root in parts of your own local world. And, how would you react if something that started as a curiosity just grew,
Yeah.
became undeniable, maybe even unmanageable?
And maybe taking that a step further. When does an abandoned pet, or just a few animals, actually cross the line? When do they become a naturalized, even dominant population in their own right? And what responsibilities do we, as people, have then to understand, to manage, maybe just to coexist with these surprising self-organizing populations right in our own backyards? Recognizing that maybe cities aren't just for us after all.